A millionaire spots a poor little girl outside his restaurant. "I'm poor. They won't let me go inside," she murmurs. But before we jump into this powerful story, take a moment to comment below and tell us where you're watching from. You're about to experience a moving story, one of love, redemption, and second chances that's sure to stir your soul. Enjoy what follows. The autumn rain had just stopped falling when Marcus Wellington stepped out of his high-end restaurant. Wellington's, adjusting the sleeves of his luxurious charcoal-colored suit. At only 35 years old, Marcus had already made millions. But tonight felt different, strangely hollow. Behind him, the upscale dining room buzzed with the sounds of polished conversations and clinking crystal glasses. But Marcus felt like he no longer belonged there. That's when he noticed her, a tiny figure curled up beside a brick wall. Half lost in the creeping evening shadows, a young girl, maybe 7 years old at most, sat quietly, a small bucket of drooping flowers by her side. Her small hands rubbed together for warmth in the cold breeze. Her dark hair was tied into neat little braids, despite the tattered clothes she wore. Oversized glasses constantly slid down her little nose. Marcus paused, silently watching her struggle to fix a flower with a snapped stem. There was something striking about her, the quiet persistence in her fragile hands. "Excuse me, sir." Her voice was soft, unsure, but hopeful. "Would you like to buy a flower? They're only $2. Marcus glanced down at the bouquet, tired-looking blossoms, clearly past their prime, most likely picked from discarded scraps behind a florist's shop. But her eyes, they were full of light, full of hope. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Marcus asked, crouching to her level. "Emma Rodriguez, sir," she replied, gently pushing her glasses up, a little shy. Just then, the delicious scent of garlic and fresh herbs drifted out from the restaurant kitchen. Emma's stomach growled loudly in the otherwise silent street. She turned red with embarrassment. Her eyes welled up. "I'm sorry, sir," she whispered, voice trembling. "My tummy made a noise. The food smells so yummy." She gazed longingly at the glowing restaurant windows. "But I know I can't go inside. They don't let kids like me in there." Marcus felt something twist in his chest. "Kids like you?" Tears slipped down Emma's cheeks. "Poor kids, sir," she said quietly. "Yesterday, I heard the fancy man at the door tell another boy. He said only rich people are allowed to eat here." She wiped her nose on her sleeve. "I'm poor, so they won't let me go in." The words struck Marcus like a slap to the face. This little child, freezing, selling half-dead flowers to survive, believed she wasn't worthy of food or comfort just because she had no money. Marcus stood up straight, his jaw tightening with resolve. "Emma Rodriguez," he said with strength in his voice, "I own this restaurant, and I'm inviting you in right now. You can eat here anytime you want, forever." Emma's eyes went wide, her face stunned. "Really, sir, even though I'm poor?" "Especially because you're brave, kind, and worthy." Marcus extended his hand. "Come on, let's get you something to eat." As Emma's tiny, chilled fingers slipped into his, Marcus had no idea that the small gesture of kindness would completely transform his life. The next day would bring a revelation that would flip his world upside down. He led Emma through the grand glass doors of Wellington's, ignoring the startled stares of his immaculately dressed staff. The little girl's eyes widened with awe at the crystal chandeliers, the snow-white tablecloths, the shining silver utensils. Mr. Wellington, Cassandra Mitchell, his restaurant's manager, walked up with a puzzled look. "Is everything all right?" "Everything is just perfect, Cassandra," Marcus replied as he guided Emma to his private table, the one reserved for VIPs and important business dinners. "This is Emma Rodriguez," he said. "She's our honored guest this evening." Emma sat at the edge of the velvet-covered chair, clearly nervous to even touch anything. Marcus noticed her hesitation and offered a comforting smile. "Emma, what's your favorite thing to eat?" I don't really know, sir," she said in a small voice. "Mama and I usually just eat rice and beans. Sometimes we're lucky enough to have bread too." Marcus felt a sting in his chest. He signaled to his head chef, Thomas, who approached promptly. "Prepare our best children's meal," Marcus instructed. chicken tenders, mashed potatoes, vegetables, and chocolate cake for dessert. Make it extra special. As they waited, Emma spoke slowly, sharing glimpses of her life. She lived far away, with her mama, who cleaned office buildings at night. During the day, they sold flowers on the streets to buy food. She had never eaten inside a restaurant before. When the meal finally arrived, Emma stared at the beautifully arranged plate and, "Hey, is this really for me?" she asked, completely astonished. "All for you," Marcus nodded. Emma ate slowly, cherishing every bite. Between mouthfuls, she chatted about her favorite subject, reading, and how one day she hoped to write a book of her own. "You're incredibly smart, Emma," Marcus said, genuinely impressed by her vocabulary and poise despite her hardships. After dinner, Marcus walked her to the exit and handed her a crisp $50 bill. "For you and your mama." Emma's eyes welled up again. "Mr. Marcus, you're the kindest person I've ever met. Mama always says angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they just have kind hearts." Marcus felt a deep, unfamiliar warmth stir within his chest. "Emma," he said softly, "I want you to remember something important. You can come here any time you're hungry, day or night. Just ask for me." "Really?" Emma hugged the money tightly against her chest. "I promise, this is your place to." Now, as Emma turned to leave, she glanced back with a timid smile. "Mr. Marcus, tomorrow I want to bring someone very special to meet you. Is that okay?" "Of course. Who would you like to bring?" "My mama. I want her to meet the angel who helped me tonight." Marcus watched as Emma's little figure vanished into the night, briefly lit by passing streetlights. He had no idea that the next day's meeting would shake everything he thought he understood about his past. Later that night, alone in his luxury penthouse, Marcus couldn't get Emma's words out of his mind. "They don't let people like me inside." When had his dream restaurant become a place that excluded the very people who needed it most? He couldn't wait for tomorrow. That night, high above the glowing city skyline in his lavish apartment, Marcus sat in silence. It was a space that screamed success: marble floors, floor-to-ceiling glass, and designer furniture that cost more than most families' yearly income. But tonight, it felt like a stunning prison. He couldn't stop picturing Emma, her tiny hands clutching wilted flowers, her shame when her stomach growled, her quiet belief that she didn't deserve warmth or food. Something deep inside him had shifted, something long buried under years of business contracts and power deals. Marcus stepped into his office, where a framed photo rested on his mahogany desk. His mother, Isabella Wellington, smiled back at him, the woman who scrubbed floors and waitressed long hours just to keep food on their plates. She had passed away 5 years ago, never living to witness his empire. "What would you think of me now, Mama?" he murmured at the picture. Isabella had raised him alone, after his father walked out when Marcus was just 8. She'd worked herself to exhaustion to buy him school supplies and a proper jacket. He remembered how she'd come home with sore hands from cleaning, but she'd still help him with homework and tell bedtime tales about brave princes who rescued people in need. "You're going to be someone great one day, Marcus," she would always say. "But never forget where you come from. Success means nothing if you don't use it to lift others with you." Somewhere along the way, that lesson had faded. Marcus had chased his empire so hard, he'd stopped noticing the people it left behind. His restaurants catered to the elite, while children like Emma sat outside, ignored and hungry. He poured himself a glass of expensive whiskey, but didn't touch it. Instead, he stared out over the city, thinking of all the Emmas out there, the unseen, the struggling, while he counted dollars. His phone lit up with messages from business partners about board meetings, from women asking for dinner dates, from investors pushing new deals. None of it mattered anymore. The only person he wanted to see tomorrow was a little girl with cracked glasses and a heart full of dreams. He made a mental note: call his lawyer first thing in the morning. He wanted to start a fund for families like Emma's, something his mother would be proud of, something to make his success meaningful, beyond the numbers in his bank. As he finally turned in for the night, Marcus felt a new kind of anticipation building, not for profits, but for purpose. He looked forward to meeting the woman who raised a child like Emma, someone strong enough to survive impossible odds. But he had no idea that tomorrow would bring not just a visit. It would bring a collision with his own past that would redefine everything he thought he knew about love, fate, and second chances. The lonely millionaire fell asleep thinking about angels without wings and little girls who deserved the entire world. The next evening, Marcus arrived at Wellington's, a full hour early, his heart racing with anticipation he couldn't explain. He'd spent the whole day distracted, checking his phone again and again, waiting for Emma. He had instructed Cassandra to reserve his private table, and even had the chef prepare additional servings. At exactly 6 p.m., the restaurant door chimed. Marcus looked up from his notes, expecting to see Emma. But what he saw made his breath hitch. There she was, hand in hand with a woman whose silhouette stole the air from his lungs. As they stepped closer through the dining hall, Marcus stood from his chair, his heart thundering in his chest. The woman lifted her face, and time froze. Sophia. Her name escaped his lips like a whispered memory, like a reopened scar. 15 years had passed, but Sophia Rodriguez stopped mid-step, locking eyes with him in complete disbelief. She looked thinner now, worn down by life's burdens, but unmistakably the girl he had once loved in high school. Her long black hair was now pulled into a modest ponytail, and fine lines surrounded her eyes. Silent stories of pain and endurance. Marcus, she said, her voice shaking. Emma looked up, puzzled by their expressions. Mama, this is Mr. Marcus, the nice man I told you about, the one who let me eat and gave us money. Neither adult responded. They just stood there, stunned, separated by time, old love, and choices never taken. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know, Emma said, a kind man. But she never said. She pressed a trembling hand to her lips, overwhelmed. Marcus took a small step forward, his voice barely audible. Sophia Martinez, Rodriguez now, she corrected gently. Sophia Rodriguez. Emma tugged on her mother's worn sleeve. Mama, can we sit down? Mr. Marcus said I could eat here any time I wanted. Can you eat here too, please? That innocent plea shattered the tension. Marcus immediately gestured toward the table. Of course. Please, both of you, have a seat. As they settled into the comfortable chairs, with Emma joyfully pointing at dishes on the menu, Marcus and Sophia exchanged silent looks heavy with memories. Marcus noticed how Sophia's once soft, creative hands had grown rough from labor. She noticed his tailored suit, his composed demeanor. The boy she'd once loved had become the man he always swore he'd be. You look good, Marcus, Sophia said quietly while Emma browsed the menu. Successful. I'm proud of you. Sophia, Marcus began, but stopped himself. There were too many questions, too many years, too much sorrow and longing between them. Emma looked up, suddenly anxious. Mama, why are you crying? Did I do something wrong by bringing you here? Sophia wiped her tears and forced a gentle smile. No, sweetheart. These are happy tears. Mama just hasn't seen Mr. Marcus in a very, very long time. As they placed their dinner orders, the weight of their shared past lingered silently between them. But beneath the surprise and uncertainty, something else began to awaken. The memory of a love that had never fully disappeared, now complicated by a precious little girl who had unknowingly brought them back together. Midway through the meal, Sophia's phone vibrated. She glanced at it and immediately stood up in haste. We have to leave, she said urgently. Emma, finish your food quickly. But Mama, now, Emma protested. Marcus noticed a fear flicker across Sophia's face and stood as well. Sophia, what's going on? But she was already gathering their belongings, walking away, leaving. Marcus, overwhelmed with questions and a painful realization. He might have found Sophia again, only to lose her just as quickly. 3 long days passed before Sophia and Emma returned to Wellington's. Marcus had barely slept, replaying their reunion over and over in his head, wondering what had frightened Sophia so badly that night. When he finally saw them walk through the door, relief washed over him. This time, Sophia looked calmer, but more guarded. Emma ran straight to Marcus, holding out a drawing she had made, a picture of the 3 of them, standing in front of the restaurant, all smiling. I drew our family dinner, Emma declared. Proudly, Sophia's cheeks flushed. Emma, honey, we've talked about this. Mr. Marcus is just being nice. It's beautiful, Emma, Marcus said, accepting the artwork. May I keep it? As Emma settled at the table with the coloring book Marcus had given her, he and Sophia began the delicate task of piecing together the 15 years they had lost. I tried to find you, Sophia said softly, stirring her coffee when you left. For Stanford, I sent letters, I called. But your roommate said you were too busy with classes and internships. Marcus felt a pang of regret. I was chasing my future. I thought you'd wait, or come after me, or he trailed off. I was young and foolish. Sophia gave a small nod, sadness in her expression. We both were, when I didn't hear from you after you graduated. I met Diego Martinez at my job. He was charming, persistent. I was hurt and lonely. She gave a helpless shrug. And when I found out I was pregnant with Emma, you married him, Marcus said. Finishing her sentence, I thought I was making the right choice. Diego seemed steady, responsible. But after Emma was born, everything changed. Sophia's voice dropped. He started drinking, disappearing at night, getting mixed up in dangerous circles. Emma looked up from her coloring book. Mama, are you talking about Papa, the one who went away? Sophia quickly smiled to cover her worry. Just grown up. Talk, baby. Keep coloring your pretty flowers. Marcus leaned forward. Where is he now? Sophia's hands trembled slightly. We've been separated for 2 years. I took Emma and moved far away. He doesn't know where we are, and I want to keep it that way. If he's dangerous, Marcus began, he's not in our lives anymore, she said firmly. But Marcus could see the fear in her eyes. Emma and I are doing fine now. We take care of each other, still. Marcus observed how she constantly checked her phone, chose seats facing the exit, and jumped at every sudden sound. He knew there was more to her story, darker truths she wasn't yet ready to share. As the evening wore on, they spoke of lighter memories, high school dances, old dreams, and the futures they once imagined. Emma had fallen asleep beside Sophia, crayons still clutched in her hand. She's beautiful, Marcus whispered. You've raised her wonderfully. She's my entire world, Sophia replied, brushing a hand through Emma's hair. Everything I do is for her. When Marcus offered to drive them home, Sophia gently refused. We take the bus, we're used to it. But as he watched them walk away into the night, Marcus knew Sophia was hiding something deeper, something that made her glance behind her at every corner, something that made her grip Emma's hand like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. Over the next 2 weeks, Marcus changed Wellingtons in ways no one expected. He created a cozy little space near his private table, filled with children's books, crayons, and soft pillows. At first, the staff were confused by their boss's sudden focus on a poor woman and her daughter, but they soon grew to adore Emma's joyful spirit and Sophia's quiet warmth. Marcus began reshaping his schedule around their visits. He'd arrive early, cancel formal dinners, and wait eagerly for the moment Emma would race through the door, with Sophia following behind. Cautious but growing more comfortable with each visit, Marcus and Sophia slowly reconnected. They talked about everything, except the one topic that always made Sophia's gaze darken: Diego. Do you remember how we used to dream of opening our own restaurant? Sophia asked one evening, watching Emma organize her crayons by color. Marcus smiled. You wanted to serve real Mexican food. I wanted to make everything look gourmet. We thought we'd change the restaurant world, and you did, without me. Sophia said softly, but without resentment. I'm proud of everything you've achieved. Marcus, sometimes it all feels hollow, he admitted. Success without someone to share it with, it's just numbers in a spreadsheet. Sophia looked up from her hands. You never got married, almost a few times, but no one was ever. He met her eyes. No one was ever you. The truth settled between them. Heavy with 15 years of unspoken emotions, Emma, oblivious to the adults' tension, climbed onto Marcus's lap, holding her latest drawing. Look, Mr. Marcus, I drew you teaching me to read, like you did yesterday. Marcus's heart swelled. He'd been helping Emma with her homework, realizing just how intelligent she was, but how few resources she had. You're doing amazing. Emma, Soon you'll be reading full chapter books. Will you still help me when I'm big? She asked earnestly. As long as you want me to, Marcus promised, not realizing the impact his words had on Sophia. Later, as they were getting ready to leave, Sophia lingered as Emma ran to the restroom. Marcus, I need to tell you something, she began, but paused as her phone buzzed. She checked it, and all color drained from her face. What is it? Marcus asked quickly. Nothing. We should go. But her hands were shaking as she grabbed Emma's. Things. Sophia, talk to me. Whatever is going on, you don't understand, she whispered urgently. Some things can't be fixed with kindness or money. Some people don't disappear just because you want them to. Before Marcus could press further, Emma returned, and Sophia shifted back to her calm, protective demeanor. But as they left, Marcus noticed Sophia glancing behind her more often than usual, and she clutched Emma's hand tightly. The next evening, as Sophia walked into Wellington's, Marcus immediately saw what she'd tried to hide beneath makeup, a deep purple bruise along her cheekbone and a small cut on her lip. Emma ran ahead to their usual table, excitedly talking about school, but Marcus's sharp breath gave away his reaction as he looked at Sophia's battered face. Don't, Sophia said quietly before he could speak. Not in front of Emma, but Marcus had seen enough. The nervous phone checks, the rushed exits, the fear, and now the bruises. It all made a terrible kind of sense. Diego Martinez wasn't just a memory. He was still part of Sophia's present, and a very real threat. After Emma drifted off to sleep on the restaurant's cushions, exhausted from school, Marcus gently guided Sophia to a private booth at the back of Wellington's. Under the soft light, the bruise looked worse, and the cut on her lip had reopened. Tell me, Marcus said quietly, his voice calm, but his fists clenched. Tell me who did this to you. Sophia instinctively touched her bruised cheek. It's complicated. Marcus, you wouldn't understand. Try me. Sophia drew in a shaky breath. Diego found us 2 weeks ago. I don't know how, but he managed to track us down. Her voice wavered. We've been on the run for 2 years, Marcus, moving from one city to another, never staying long enough to feel safe or settled. I really thought we were finally safe here. Marcus felt anger ignite inside him. He hit you. He's furious that I took Emma away. He says I don't have the right to keep his daughter from him. Sophia's eyes brimmed with tears. But he never wanted her when she was born. He called her a mistake, a burden. She wiped her face. And now, suddenly, he wants custody. But I know what he really wants. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Money, Sophia nodded. He's in serious debt to dangerous people. He thinks just because Emma sells flowers near expensive restaurants, we must be hiding money. When I told him we had nothing to give, she gestured toward her injured face. Marcus abruptly stood and began pacing behind the booth. This ends here. I'm calling the police. No. Sophia grabbed his arm. You don't get it. Diego has connections, friends in the system. He's been in and out of jail, but he always finds a loophole. If we bring in the police, he'll twist it. Say I'm unfit. Claim I kidnapped Emma. So your plan is to just keep running. Let him torment you whenever he wants. Sophia slumped forward in exhaustion. I've been saving money, planning to disappear again. New state, new names. Maybe that's the only way. Marcus sat beside her, gently taking her hands in his. Sophia, I'm not letting you run anymore. I have the resources. I have security, lawyers. I can protect both of you. I can't accept charity, Marcus. I don't want to be some rich man's rescue project. Marcus's voice softened. Look at me. When she met his gaze, he continued, this isn't charity. This isn't pity. I love you, Sophia. I loved you 15 years ago, and I still love you now, and I love Emma like she's already mine. Let me protect my family. Sophia stared at him, tears falling freely. Family, if you let me be a part of it. From across the restaurant, Emma stirred in her cozy corner and called out groggily, Mama? Mr. Marcus, why are you sitting so far away? Sophia quickly dried her eyes and smiled. We're coming, baby. As they walked back toward Emma, Sophia leaned in close and whispered, if I say yes, if I let you help us, Diego won't just disappear. He'll get worse, more dangerous. Marcus wrapped an arm around her protectively. Then we'll be ready. What neither of them realized was that Diego had already discovered everything. Where Sophia worked, where Emma went to school, and, most dangerously, who Marcus Wellington really was. The predator was watching, and his next move was already underway. Within 72 hours, Marcus had entirely changed Sophia and Emma's world. He moved them into a secure building on the other side of town, one with a doorman, surveillance cameras, and strict entry protocols. The two-bedroom apartment came fully furnished. Emma's room painted a calming lavender, shelves filled with new books, a stocked kitchen, and most importantly, peace. Sophia initially resisted such generosity. Her pride clashed with her fierce need to protect her daughter. "This is too much," she said as Emma ran joyfully through the apartment, touching everything like it was a fairy tale come true. "It's not enough," Marcus replied firmly. "Not after everything you've endured." That same week, Marcus offered Sophia a job, administrative coordinator at his company's headquarters. "You were always amazing with people and details," he told her. "I remember your high school grades. This isn't charity. I genuinely need someone I can trust." Sophia hesitated. "I haven't worked in an office in years. I've been cleaning buildings, waiting tables, all under the table for cash. We'll train you, if needed," Marcus said. Meanwhile, Emma was thriving in ways that made Sophia's heart ache with joy and sorrow. Marcus had enrolled her at Riverside Elementary, a top-tier private school. She now had new clothes, a proper backpack, and most special of all, a pair of glasses that actually fit. "Look, Mama," Emma spun in her new school uniform. "I look like a real student." "You've always been a real student, baby," Sophia whispered. But she knew what Emma meant. For the first time, her daughter looked like she truly belonged. Evenings turned into something magical. Marcus would arrive after work with takeout from Wellington's, always a new dish for Emma to try. They'd sit around the small dining table, Emma chatting endlessly about her day, while Marcus and Sophia exchanged glances that spoke volumes. On weekends, Marcus taught Emma how to play chess, while Sophia took online college courses to finally complete her interrupted education. He was endlessly patient with Emma, celebrating her smallest progress, never losing temper when she made mistakes. "Mr. Marcus," Emma asked one Saturday, staring at the chessboard, "are you going to marry my mama?" Marcus nearly spit out his coffee. Sophia froze, her laptop resting on her lap. "Would you like that?" Marcus asked gently. Emma nodded with all seriousness. "Then you'd be my real papa, right? Not like the other one who made mama cry." Sophia's eyes filled with emotion. "I want a papa who brings us food, teaches me games, and doesn't scare us," Emma said simply. "You're like that, Mr. Marcus." Marcus looked across at Sophia, seeing his own feelings mirrored in her face. They were falling in love again, but this time, it was stronger, rooted in purpose, trust, and partnership. 3 weeks into their new life, Sophia found Marcus on the apartment's tiny balcony, gazing out at the sparkling city lights. "Regrets?" she asked softly, standing beside him. "The opposite," Marcus replied, pulling her into his arms. "I never imagined feeling this whole, you and Emma. You've given my life a purpose beyond anything I've built professionally." Sophia rested her head against his chest, finally allowing herself to believe in joy again. "I love you, Marcus Wellington." "I love you too, Sophia Rodriguez. Both of you." But as they stood wrapped in the warmth of new beginnings, neither noticed the figure parked across the street, nor the camera clicking quietly from the shadows. Diego Martinez had been watching, gathering details, learning their new life, and he was ready to strike. 2 months into their transformed world, Sophia realized something stunning. She hadn't looked over her shoulder in weeks. The constant fear that had once ruled her life was beginning to lift. Emma was thriving at Riverside, making friends, excelling in her studies. Sophia had earned real respect at Marcus's company, proving herself to colleagues who had once questioned her sudden arrival. But it was the quiet, simple moments that meant the most. One Friday night, after Emma had fallen asleep during a movie, Sophia and Marcus found themselves truly alone for the first time since they had reconnected. The apartment was calm, city lights flickering softly outside, and suddenly, the 15 years between who they were and who they had become just melted away. Do you ever think about what life would have been like if we never lost touch? Sophia asked softly, curled up against Marcus on the couch. Marcus gently ran his fingers through her hair every single day. But maybe we needed those separate paths first to become the people we had to be for Emma. Sophia looked up at him. I never stopped loving you, not entirely. Even when I tried to move forward, even when I married Diego, a part of me was still waiting for you to come back. Marcus cupped her face carefully, mindful of the fading bruise that was finally healing. I compared every woman I met to you. No one ever matched up, because none of them were you. When they kissed, it wasn't the urgent spark of youth, but the deep and steady love of two people who had walked through fire to find each other again. I want to marry you, Marcus whispered against her lips. I want to adopt Emma. I want us to be a real family, legally, officially. Tears shimmered in Sophia's eyes. Yes, she breathed. Yes to all of it. Emma stirred on the couch, her eyes fluttering open to see them embracing. Rather than being surprised, she smiled sleepily. Are you kissing like in the princess movies? She asked with innocent curiosity. Sophia and Marcus laughed, making room for her between them. Maybe just a little, Sophia replied. Emma clapped her hands excitedly. Does that mean we're going to be a real family now, like forever and ever, forever and ever? Marcus assured her, lifting Emma into his lap. If that's what you want, it's my biggest wish, Emma said seriously. I wished every night when I was selling flowers for a nice papa who'd love me and mama and keep us safe. Under the soft lamplight, the three of them sat together. Dreaming of their future, they talked about wedding plans. Emma insisted she needed a sparkly dress since she'd be the flower girl. They imagined moving to a house with a yard where Emma could finally have a dog. Marcus promised to teach her how to ride a bike and take them on family trips to places she'd only read about in books. For the first time in years, Sophia allowed herself to hope for more than just survival. Later that night, after tucking Emma into her own bed in her own room, Sophia and Marcus stood in the hallway hand in hand. I keep expecting something bad to happen, Sophia admitted. This feels too perfect to be real. Marcus pulled her close. Nothing's going to happen to us. We're safe now. We're together. That's all that matters. But neither of them noticed the shadow that had been following Emma home from school all week, nor the fact that the building's security cameras had mysteriously stopped working that very afternoon. Diego Martinez had been planning his move for months, and tomorrow he would make his presence known in a way that would tear their fragile new world apart. Spring had arrived in full bloom, cherry blossoms, golden sunlight, and for Sophia, it brought the happiest time she had known in her adult life. Marcus proposed in a quiet moment over dinner at Wellington's, with Emma as their giggling, excited witness. Emma had even helped choose the ring, declaring it sparkly enough for a real princess. Wedding planning became a family affair. Emma drew picture after picture of dress ideas for Sophia, while Marcus managed the logistics, venue, food, flowers. They chose to have a small ceremony in the private garden behind Wellington's, followed by an intimate reception with only close friends and loved ones. Sophia also enrolled in weekend classes to complete her teaching degree, a dream she'd abandoned long ago when Diego had convinced her it wasn't worth it. Marcus fully supported her decision, often helping with Emma so Sophia could focus on her coursework. Look what I made at school. Emma burst through the door one Tuesday afternoon, waving a handmade Mother's Day card. It's for you, Mama, but I made one from Mr. Marcus too, because he takes care of us like a real papa. Marcus's heart swelled as he read the card, decorated with glitter hearts and the words "My new papa" in neat, childlike handwriting, but as picture perfect as everything seemed. Subtle signs of danger began to surface. Sophia was the first to notice the dark blue car that trailed slowly behind them as she walked Emma home. It turned when they turned. It slowed when they slowed. She tried to brush it off. Perhaps it was just her trauma whispering lies. Surely Diego hadn't found them. Then came the strange phone calls to the landline. Rings with silence on the other end. Marcus guessed it was probably telemarketers. But Sophia's instincts, sharpened by years of fear, said otherwise. One evening, while shopping for groceries, Sophia felt eyes boring into her back. She turned and saw a man in a baseball cap look away quickly and duck around a corner. Her blood froze. There was something hauntingly familiar in his build, in his stance. "Mama, you're holding my hand too tight," Emma said with a whimper. Sophia let go, flustered. "Sorry. Baby, let's finish and head home." That weekend, Marcus surprised them with zoo tickets. As they watched Emma feed the giraffes, Sophia finally gave voice to her fear. "Marcus, I think someone's been watching us," she whispered. Marcus instantly went on alert. "What do you mean?" She described the car, the phone calls, the strange man. "I know it sounds paranoid, but when you've lived on the run for 2 years, you develop instincts." Marcus pulled her close. "We'll increase security, higher protection, whatever it takes." Sophia's eyes followed Emma's joyful laughter as a peacock strutted nearby. "You don't understand. If Diego really found us, he won't stop. He'll want to punish us for running. He'll want to hurt you for taking what he thinks belongs to him right then." Sophia's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Enjoying your new family. We need to talk." Her face went pale. Her hands began trembling so hard Marcus had to gently take the phone from her. "It's him," she whispered. "He found us, across the zoo, hidden behind a cotton candy cart." Diego Martinez watched them through binoculars, a cold grin on his face. He had spent the last 3 months tracking them, photographing their apartment, studying Marcus's business empire. Now, he was ready to remind Sophia exactly who was in control. Despite the terror returning to her chest, Sophia made a quiet decision. She wouldn't let him ruin what they had built. She deleted the message before Marcus could read it fully and forced a smile for Emma's sake. Maybe, just maybe, it was a prank, a mistake, a coincidence. The weeks that followed were the most beautiful of Sophia's life, and she held on to every second with fierce, desperate joy. For Emma's 8th birthday, Marcus gifted her a bright, pink bicycle with training wheels and a basket for her plush animals. He spent hours in the park running beside her, laughing and cheering as she pedaled on her own. "Look, Mama, I'm flying," Emma called out, glowing with pride. From the bench, Sophia cried tears of joy. This was the childhood she had once only dreamed of giving her daughter, safe, joyful, and filled with love. On weekends, Marcus brought them to his private country club, teaching Emma to swim while Sophia floated nearby. Marveling at how naturally Marcus fit into their lives, he was gentle with Emma's fears, celebrated every little achievement, never scolded, even when splashed in the face. "Mr. Marcus," Emma asked one afternoon, clinging to the pool's edge, "when you marry Mama, can I call you Papa?" Marcus looked to Sophia, who nodded with tears in her eyes. "If you want to, sweetheart, I'd be honored." Emma's smile lit up everything around her. They spent evenings planning the wedding. Emma demanded a purple dress to match the flower arrangements she'd help organize. Marcus showed them pictures of Wellington's garden, now transformed with string lights and white chairs in a circle. "Only 50 guests, Sophia said, reviewing the list. "I want something intimate, meaningful, perfect," Marcus agreed. "Only the people who matter most." Emma had covered the fridge with stick-figure drawings of the 3 of them holding hands outside a house with a giant yard and a golden retriever named Sunny. "When we move to our new house, can we get the puppy?" she asked one night at dinner. Marcus and Sophia exchanged a knowing look. They'd already been discussing that very idea. Soon, Marcus promised, very soon. One evening, as Emma practiced piano at the little keyboard Marcus had bought her, Sophia stepped out onto the balcony and wrapped her arms around him from behind. "Penny, for your thoughts?" she asked gently. "I was thinking about my mother," Marcus replied. "She'd be so proud of us," Marcus said softly. "She always believed that family wasn't just about blood. It was about who you choose to love and protect." Sophia kissed his shoulder gently. She would have adored Emma, and she'd love you too. Marcus turned to face her. "Sophia, I want to begin the adoption process. I want Emma to be legally mine too." Sophia's heart filled with Emotion. She'd love that. She's already been practicing writing Emma Wellington in her notebook. As they stood side by side, imagining the life ahead, neither of them noticed the figure lurking in the parking lot below, or realized the building's new security guard had been paid to look the other way. The following afternoon, while Marcus was at work and Emma was still at school, Sophia returned home to find the apartment door slightly ajar. A wave of dread crashed over her. She pushed the door open slowly, and there he was, Diego Martinez, sitting casually on her couch, flipping through Emma's school photos like he owned the place. "Hello, Sophia," he said with a chilling smile. "Miss me?" Sophia stood frozen in the doorway, her keys shaking in her hand. Diego had changed, his face gaunt, eyes colder, a deep scar trailing from his left ear down to his jawline. Prison tattoos covered his forearms, and Sophia could make out the shape of something metallic bulging from his jacket. "Hello, Sophia," he repeated, grinning like a predator. "Did you miss me? How did you get in here?" Sophia demanded, trying to keep her voice from cracking. "This building has security. Money talks, sweetheart." Diego sneered. "It's amazing how cooperative people become when you flash the right price." He rose from the couch, slowly, deliberately. "Nice place. A big upgrade from the dump you were hiding in before. Looks like you snagged yourself a real sugar daddy. Get out," Sophia said quietly, her voice barely holding steady. "Emma will be home soon." Asterisk. Diego picked up a crayon drawing from the coffee table. It showed Marcus, Sophia, and Emma holding hands, with Mama, Papa Marcus, and me written in purple at the top. "Looks like my daughter forgot she already has a father," he said, voice dripping with venom. "You gave up that right the moment you chose addiction and violence over your own child," Sophia replied, taking a step back. Diego's expression turned dark. "I never gave up anything. You poisoned her against me. You turned her into your little puppet. She was terrified of you," Sophia snapped. "You screamed at her, belittled her, told her she was worthless when she cried." With a sudden roar, Diego slammed his fist on the coffee table, making Emma's crayons jump. "I've spent 3 years thinking about what you took from me. 3 years planning how to take it all back. What do you want, Diego?" He stepped closer, and Sophia caught the stench of alcohol and stale cigarettes. "I want what's mine. My daughter. My wife. I'm not your wife anymore. I filed for divorce 2 years ago." Diego let out a bitter laugh. "Papers don't mean anything to me. Sophia, you belong to me. You always have." He pulled out his phone and showed her photo after photo, images of her and Marcus at the zoo, in the park, walking Emma to school. "I've been watching you play house with your millionaire boyfriend. Adorable. But playtime's over." Sophia's heart pounded as she calculated how long until Emma's school bus arrived. "What do you want?" she asked again. 100 grand. Diego said coolly, "In cash. Your boyfriend has it. It's nothing for a guy like him. I can't ask Marcus for that kind of money, then steal it. I don't care how you get it." He stepped closer, cornering her against the wall. "You've got 48 hours. And if I don't," Diego's smile turned sinister, "then I take Emma right out of her fancy little school. I've got people in Mexico who'd love to help a father reunite with his child. By the time you find her, she'll be long gone." Sophia nearly collapsed. "You can't. She's just a child. She's my child," he growled. He grabbed her arm tightly, hard enough to bruise. "And if your boyfriend thinks he can play hero, well, rich men have accidents all the time. They slip, fall downstairs, disappear." The screech of bus brakes outside made them both freeze. "Emma's home," Sophia whispered. Diego let go and straightened his jacket. "Remember, 48 hours. 100,000. No cops. No boyfriend. No running. Or Emma pays the price." He walked toward the balcony. Now Sophia realized that's how he'd gotten in. "And next time we talk, we'll be discussing you coming back home, where you belong, the three of us, like a real family." As Emma's voice rang through the hallway outside, Diego slipped over the railing and disappeared into the shadows. Sophia stood trembling, staring at the space that had been their sanctuary just moments earlier. When Emma came bounding in with her backpack and bright smile, Sophia somehow pulled herself together, forcing her voice to sound cheerful, her face to remain calm. But inside, her mind was racing. She had just 48 hours to come up with $100, zero without destroying the only happiness she'd ever known, for the next day. Sophia lived in constant dread, flinching at every noise, checking locks repeatedly, pretending everything was fine for Emma and Marcus. She considered fleeing again, draining her savings, but Diego's threats echoed in her mind. At dinner, Marcus noticed her shaking hands. Emma asked why Mama looked so sad. Sophia broke. "He was in our home," she cried, touching Emma's things, threatening to take her to Mexico, saying we'd never see her again. Marcus went still, his expression steely, his voice low with fury. "Why didn't you tell me right away? He said he'd hurt Emma if I did, or you." Marcus pulled her into his arms. "He won't touch either of you. I swear it." The next morning, Marcus moved them into his penthouse under full-time security. 2 additional bodyguards were hired. The school was instructed to only release Emma to Sophia or Marcus, no exceptions. "I'm going to end this," Marcus told Sophia as he prepared to leave. "Please be careful," Sophia begged. "Diego isn't just violent. He's desperate, and desperate people are dangerous." Marcus had arranged to meet Diego in the parking lot of a shopping center, public enough to avoid immediate violence, private enough for a confrontation. When Marcus arrived, Diego was already leaning against an old pickup, cigarette in hand. Marcus had expected to feel fear, but looking at Diego, unshaven, strung out, reeking of failure, he felt only revulsion. "You must be the famous Marcus Wellington," Diego sneered. "Sophia's sugar daddy." "I'm the man who loves Sophia and Emma," Marcus replied calmly. "And the man who's going to erase you from their lives forever." Diego chuckled. "With what? Money? You think you can buy me off? 100,000, like you demanded. But with conditions." Marcus pulled out a set of documents. "You sign over all parental rights. You agree never to contact Sophia or Emma again. You disappear." Diego feigned interest, then laughed coldly. "Changed my mind. I want 500,000. Now." Marcus's control began to slip. "The deal was 100. The deal is whatever I say." Diego snapped. "You rich punks think everything has a price. But Sophia is mine. She'll always be mine." Marcus stepped forward, voice low and threatening. "Sophia belongs to no one but herself. Emma deserves a real father, not someone who scares her. I'm giving you a chance to walk away with enough to start over." Diego flicked his cigarette at Marcus's shoes. "Or what? You'll call the cops. By the time they show up, Emma will be long gone. I've got people who can make her vanish." Marcus calmly pulled out his phone. "I've been recording this conversation. You've made threats against a child, tried to extort me, violated a restraining order." Diego paled. "That's enough to lock you up for years." Diego's hand darted to his jacket. "You're smarter than I thought, but not smart enough." He pulled out a knife. "Delete the recording, now." Marcus realized in that moment Diego couldn't be reasoned with. He wasn't after money. He wanted control. He wanted Sophia. As Diego lunged forward, the knife glinting in the sunlight, Marcus understood this confrontation was no longer about deals or paperwork. One of them would walk away, the other wouldn't. Just then, security guards from the shopping center ran over, drawn by Diego's yelling. He quickly stashed the knife and stepped back, but not before whispering, "This isn't over, not even close." Marcus immediately called the police and filed an official report, handing over the audio recording. Detective Sarah Chin assured him a warrant would be issued, but warned men like Diego don't quit easily. He sees his ex-wife and daughter as possessions, not people, Detective Chun explained. "I recommend maintaining maximum security until we get him into custody." For the next 48 hours, Marcus, Sophia, and Emma stayed in the penthouse under round-the-clock protection. Emma didn't fully understand why she wasn't allowed to go to school or the park, but she sensed the adults' tension and stayed close to Sophia. On Thursday morning, Sophia had to leave for a critical client meeting at the office. Once she couldn't delay, Marcus offered to cancel it for her, but she gently refused. We can't live hiding forever, she said. I'll take the security team with me. Emma will be safe here with you and the guards. But that afternoon, everything unraveled. Emma's private school called the penthouse in a panic. Mr. Wellington, this is Principal Anderson. A man claiming to be Emma's father picked her up an hour ago. He had what looked like official custody documents and said there was a family emergency. We tried calling Sophia, but her phone went straight to voicemail. Marcus felt the world tilt around him. What did he look like? Hispanic, medium height, dark hair. He knew Emma's full name, her teacher's name, even her birthday. Emma seemed to recognize him, but she looked scared. Marcus was already rushing out the door. Call the police right now. This is a kidnapping. Sophia's screams echoed through the penthouse when Marcus told her the news. He has my baby. Oh God, Marcus. He has Emma. Within hours, the FBI was brought in. Diego had crossed state lines with Emma, officially violating federal kidnapping laws. Security footage showed him driving toward the interstate in a stolen van. Agent Roberts, the lead investigator, quickly distributed Emma's photo to every law enforcement agency in the region. The good news is, Diego wants money, not to hurt her. Agent Roberts told Marcus and Sophia. He'll make contact soon with his demands. The call came at midnight. Diego's voice was cold and triumphant. Missing something. Sophia, please, she sobbed into the phone. Please don't hurt her. She's just a little girl. She's my little girl, and she'll stay with me until you come back home, where you belong. Marcus grabbed the phone. What do you want? $500,000. Cash, no cops, no FBI, no games. You've got 12 hours. Let me talk to Emma. I need to know she's okay. After a pause, Emma's trembling voice came through. Mr. Marcus, I want to come home. I want my mama. We're coming, sweetheart. Be brave, okay? Diego returned to the line. Warehouse District, Pier 47. Sophia brings the money. She comes alone. If I see anyone else, you'll never see her again. The call went dead. Sophia collapsed into Marcus's arms, shaking violently. He's going to kill her. I know him. When he loses control, he doesn't think. Marcus held her tight. We're getting her back, no matter what it takes. As the FBI prepared their strategy, none of them realized Diego had already moved Emma to a second location, an abandoned warehouse where he planned to vanish forever, leaving Sophia and Marcus to suffer as he had. Time was slipping away, and Emma was in danger. The FBI traced Diego's phone to Pier 47, but when they arrived, the warehouse was empty. All they found was a mocking note, wrong place. She's mine now, for 6 tortuous hours. Marcus and Sophia waited while law enforcement scoured every abandoned building. Within a 20-mile radius. Sophia cried endlessly, blaming herself for every decision that led to this point. I should have run farther, she whispered. Changed our names, left the country. Trying to live a normal life put Emma in danger. Marcus took her hands, his voice steady. Look at me, Sophia. This is not your fault. Diego made his own choices, and we are going to find her. The breakthrough came from a source no one expected. Emma herself. While Diego was distracted counting the ransom money, Emma remembered Marcus teaching her how to be brave. She quietly picked up the phone Diego had dropped and called the emergency number. Marcus had made her memorize. 911. What's your emergency? This is Emma Wellington. She whispered. The bad man took me. I'm scared. The operator kept her on the line while tracing the call. Can you tell me what you see around you? Sweetheart, big windows. There's water outside. A sign says, Riverside Storage. Her voice was barely audible. He has a gun. He keeps saying. Mama has to come back to him forever. Within minutes, a SWAT team surrounded the facility. Inside, Diego became unhinged, sensing it was all falling apart. They followed you. He screamed at Emma, waving his gun wildly. You little brat, you ruined everything. But Emma had learned strength from Sophia's survival and Marcus's love. My mama doesn't belong to you, she said firmly. My real papa is coming for me. Diego raised his hand to strike her, but the warehouse door exploded open. Marcus, had insisted on joining the rescue team, despite the FBI's warnings. The second he saw Diego threaten Emma, instinct kicked in. He charged across the room and tackled Diego before he could react. "Emma, run to the police." Marcus shouted as he wrestled for control of the gun. Emma sprinted toward the SWAT officers. Gunshots rang out, one, then two, ricocheting off. The concrete dot. Marcus finally wrenched the weapon from Diego's hand, pinning him until officers swarmed in and placed him under arrest. "It's over," Marcus whispered, cradling the sobbing little girl in his arms as Sophia ran through the police barricade. "It's over, sweetheart. You're safe now." 6 months later, Sophia Martinez Wellington adjusted her white dress one last time, standing in front of the mirror in Wellington's private dining room. Today, she was marrying the man who had not only saved her life, but had saved her daughter, and her belief in hope. Emma, now 8 and officially Emma Wellington, wore a sparkling purple dress and held a bouquet of white roses. She had been attending therapy to process the trauma, but her resilience had amazed everyone. "Ready, Mama?" Emma asked, gently straightening Sophia's veil. "Ready, baby." The ceremony was held in Wellington's garden, just as they had planned months ago. 50 close friends and colleagues watched as Marcus and Sophia exchanged vows, not just to each other, but to Emma. "I promise to love you both with all I have," Marcus said through tears, "to protect this family with everything in me, to be the father and husband you both deserve." Sophia's words were simple and profound. "You gave us hope when we had none, safety when we were afraid, love when we didn't think we deserved it. I will spend my life proving you chose well." During the reception, Emma climbed onto a chair to give a speech of her own. "Mr. Marcus saved us when we were scared and hungry. Now he's my real papa forever. He taught me that families aren't just the people you're born with, they're the ones who choose to love you every day." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Diego Martinez was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison on charges of kidnapping, extortion, and weapons possession. The judge cited his complete lack of remorse as proof he remained a danger to society. Marcus and Sophia honeymooned in Italy, leaving Emma in the care of Marcus's trusted business partner and his wife. When they returned, the family moved into a beautiful home with a large yard, a place where Emma could finally play without fear. Sophia completed her education degree and now leads a program through the Wellington Foundation for Survivors of Domestic Violence. Marcus stepped back from daily business to spend more time with his family. Every night, they have dinner together. Every weekend, they explore museums and parks, and every evening, Marcus reads Emma a bedtime story while Sophia watches from the doorway, still in awe of the life they built. The little girl who once sold wilted flowers outside a restaurant now helps other children through the foundation, showing them that love is real, that healing is possible, and that sometimes angels arrive when you need them most. Marcus learned that true wealth isn't measured in bank accounts or investments. It's in the joyful laughter of the little girl who calls him Papa, and in the unwavering love of the woman who trusted him with her heart. Their family began with a single act of kindness and grew through countless small choices to love, protect, and believe in each other. Because some fairy tales really do come true, they just don't always begin with once upon a time. Sometimes they begin with a hungry child, a kind stranger, and the quiet courage to say, "You belong here too."